Welcome to Vision to Venture. I'm Eddie, and I'm here to uncover the realities of scaling and building a tech startup. Each week, I speak to leaders within the tech space with their insights and advice on how to found, fund, and frame a tech startup. So make sure to follow and subscribe to never miss an episode. Hello and welcome to Vision to Venture. Today I'm joined by Florian Scherl and Philipp Gabriel, the co-founders of Fast AI Movies. Fast AI Movies develops a software that uses AI to generate videos. Founding the company at just 18 and 24 respectively, Florian and Philipp's journey of building and scaling a team of currently 20 is truly remarkable. So without further ado, hello Florian and Philipp, how are we both doing today?
Hello, Eddie. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Of course, it's our pleasure. Thank you for joining the pod. So just to start with, I just wanted to ask if you could just share the story behind the inception of Fast AI Movies and what inspired you to sort of start this venture.
Sure. So I think what we are doing with Fast AI Movies is like we have built a software as a service solution that generates automatically out of text input e-learnings to enable direct knowledge transfer. And there we focus especially in financial corporations, but for us it's pretty important to make this direct knowledge transfer available to the employees. And I think the story why we choose that approach and why we was inspired to do this was basically because I myself taught myself during school a lot of things and saw that the best method are always e-learnings or videos and not like text or some other kind of trainings. And also Philipp, from his professional background, saw that in corporations it's very successful if you have e-learnings and learn their new stuff and share the knowledge. And that's why we said, okay, there needs to be a way how to automate this with AI and make it available to the financial corporations. And that's why we started with Fast AI Movies.
And would you say that there were any challenges that you had to face in the initial stages of building Fast AI Movies?
I think if you start a startup, you always have to face certain challenges.
Absolutely.
And then it's just important how to deal with those challenges. So I think there are several kind of challenges, especially at Fast AI Movies. Maybe one of the first challenges were, first of all, of course, also legal challenges. In Germany, it's quite complex to run a startup or to start a corporation and company. And you need to have some good lawyer who can advise you with this stuff. But you also have, of course, after you have dealt with the legal challenges, a lot of challenges on the customer side. You need to develop always with a customer-centric approach, and you need to get as many interviews as possible to make sure to not develop wrong features. And of course, now I think we also are in a stage where we face certain technical challenges as we develop our features further and are dealing with the best AI models and best AI architectures. Philipp will go into this deeper later. And of course, there are also certain challenges. But as I said, you always have challenges, and then it's just important how you deal with these challenges. And there, I think we found some kind of good framework, what we use to approach those challenges and solve those challenges.
Yeah, I do agree. Especially, I mean, I feel like with any startup, they're always going to come up because I mean, I don't know about, well, obviously you guys have done it, but myself could never do it. I think there's going to be way too many challenges that you've got to jump over, too many hurdles, but you've managed to do it and you've succeeded. So that's pretty impressive. And could you just elaborate on the specific AI algorithms or models used within your software to generate fluent and coherent text to video inputs?
Yes, sure. So I think generally speaking, one of the key features our AI models and algorithms have is what you mentioned. So there is a text input that is given by our customers, and we transform it to fluent and coherent text. But this is, of course, only one part. But staying in the field of text, so like natural language processing right now, we, on the one hand side, of course, leverage all the big open source models that are available right now. So we don't really want to make use of proprietary models, because especially German customers and also customers in the financial and insurance industry, they they have a really hard focus on data privacy and so on. So they don't want their they don't want their data to being processed to the US. So that's why we use our own, we train our own models. Okay. And yeah, I mean, very famous examples of them are Llama 2, 70 billion, or the Mixtral, Mixtral version. So I think by fine-tuning them, we can already push them towards the directions of serving our use case. However, then there are several aspects of video in a corporate setting why this is not enough to just leverage these large language models. So one aspect, for example, is definitely the part that there could be false information. Another aspect is that we also need to understand, like, these models are very good in language generation, but we of course also need a lot of language understanding, because we want to represent the most important information in the correct concepts and the correct logical concepts and relationships to our viewer, to also increase their understanding of the training content. So therefore, next to those state-of-the-art large language models, which we fine-tune on our use cases, we also apply some additional AI techniques. And there could be, for example, clusterings, there could be a vector similarity, and also there are transformer models which have some different specifications than the one that are similar to ChatGPT, but from a different company. So this is what Llama is. But there are also transformers which, for example, have bidirectional connections, which are therefore way better in understanding languages. And in our algorithms, in the end, we typically combine multiple approaches to generate the most relevant outcome in a business context, especially to focus on, basically a little bit predictability, I would call it.
Okay, so just a lot of work goes into it, basically. And what measures are in place to ensure like the accuracy and reliability of the information extracted from text and presented in the animated videos?
Yes, this is a good question, because there I would even more see our USP, because working with text, there are a lot of startups right now that that demonstrate great capabilities in working with text and generate text. But next to that, what we do additionally, we extract the most important information, and not only important single informations, but how they logically are related in logical concepts. And this is very important. For example, if you want to generate an e-learning about a new process also, then our AI needs to understand how this process works end to end. And because you mentioned accuracy and reliability, it's important that the model does not incorporate any additional knowledge. Like, of course, these models are pre-trained with all the texts that the internet has seen. So they have heard about, let's say, a purchase to pay process 300 times, or probably 300,000 times. So they should not incorporate this general knowledge from other companies also in this specific training. So therefore, accuracy and reliability is a very important aspect for us. So therefore, there are also extractive approaches, which basically are limited to the information given by the customers. And by combining extractive with generative approaches, we could achieve a very enhanced reliability in comparison with our generative only approaches. So we therefore could really benefit also from techniques in the NLP that can compare different things like vector similarity, that can extract and classify aspects of the text, and therefore we achieve this reliability in the end.
And so, given the nature of content updates and changes, how does the software efficiently manage changes without the need for reshooting videos?
So this was also one challenge in the beginning. So it would also have fitted for, I think, the second question also. But I think right now we found a way to enable our customers to do changes, because, as you said, like, our world is fast pacing, fast changing, Also, there are sometimes some special requirements from customers that needs to be incorporated into our videos, and therefore we provided now the customers with a very intuitive web interface to edit videos after their generation. And in this edit mode, they can click through different aspects of the video. So they can modify the text, they can modify the visualization, and they can modify the interactive elements such as multiple choice quizzes or like quiz elements of different kind and so on. And by providing them this opportunity, customers can also adapt to changing needs and also incorporate special requirements. If, let's say, from the upper management, they want to have a minor change due to better fit the current company direction. And so this also is something that is very much valued by our customers, because they can be sure, okay, it's an AI product. AI helps us so much in the generation of employee training videos. It reduces our time and our required resources, and it enhances the explainability and the understandability. But in the end, the expert, the knowledge expert, has the steering wheel in his hands or in his or her hands. So he can then update the video according to like some customized needs if required.
Okay, right. Now this next question is actually for both of you, but especially Florian. You both founded Fast AI Movies at incredibly young ages. What challenges did you face as young entrepreneurs?
So I would rather say, Eddie, of course we have challenges, but also with what chances did we have as a young entrepreneur, or I as a young entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But let's start with the challenges first. So of course, because I'm very young or pretty young, sometimes it can happen that you get maybe ripped off by potential customers in meetings, or get cheated there by some business partners because they may want to make use out of your like missing experience, or they think you have missing experience in several fields.
Yeah.
And but it also gives you a lot of chances, because of course, if you handle this kind of thing with the missing experience in a good way. So for example, in our case, I have with Philipp someone who is still, of course, very young, but 5 years older than me, and he has already worked at great companies like McKinsey, BMW, and Microsoft. So he has experience in certain fields, and I also for myself read a lot of books and try to get their experience in different fields in exchange with a lot of mentors. So if you once have covered those challenges, you also get a lot of positive advantages out of your young age, because you can try out several things. You get easier invited to several events and to several stages to talk about your story, because it's inspiring for many people. You can see maybe the things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think yes, these are the most important advantages you have if you start at a young age. And maybe one small challenge, if this is also interesting, because I already started with my entrepreneurial journey during my school. So I had then at some time always this kind of, how should I say, this kind of trade-off between focusing on school or focusing on coding or building a company. And I had the luck that my school was very supportive. So I could get out of lessons and join calls and meetings. I mean, I was also easy learning stuff, so it was in the end not a problem for both sides. But because they supported me in that way, I think I did not have so much challenges, rather positive opportunities through my young age.
It's good that they actually supported you through that as well, and actually was standing behind you for it, because I feel like if it was the other way around, it would have been impossible. But actually having that must have gave you also the motivation to carry on doing it and building this company, having obviously mentors support you as well, which is it's nice to hear that you had that. And as young founders, how would you say you guys approach leadership and gain credibility within the industry, especially when dealing with more experienced professionals and potential investors, as you mentioned? Is there a way that you've sort of a way to navigate through those types of people, being like young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so maybe I start first with my approach, and then Philipp can also add on his thoughts. So especially how I deal with this stuff, as I mentioned in the beginning, I try to get as many opinions as possible, and therefore to gain as much experience as possible. And with this experience, then also of course to approach investors, potential customers, and also to use this experience to become like a good leader, and also a good manager in the case of having people work for you. I mean, what is also for an advantage here is that we are in general a very young team, so I think everyone is between 20 and 30 at our company, or 33, so it's also easier maybe to exchange, and then what's also one thing what I try to do is, in general, as I said, to read a lot of books in addition to the exchange with mentors, and to use those techniques that are described here. It starts with maybe 7 Habits, so a classical book for self-optimization, but it comes also to some leadership books, or Start With Why, I think one of the most important sales books, and this is definitely something that helps me in this kind of field to get there more experience, and also to gain credibility. And then of course, if this is a process, you also have then at some point case studies from customers, what we have now, and you can use those case studies and show this to new potential leads, and then you don't need to have maybe a high age at yourself if you can show the credibility with the help of case studies of other companies.
And what about you, Philipp? How have you found it for you as well? Because obviously I know you're a little bit older. Has it, obviously going through your career as well, and then starting this business with Florian, has there been any sort of challenges that you've had to face yourself as well?
I mean, sure. I mean, although I'm a little bit older, I still am young for the industry, and especially for a lot of like big corporates in Germany, where only like people with at least the age of 40, 50 are sitting in front of you, and you need to have the credibility and show it. So I face these problems as well, and I think next to the aspects Florian already mentioned, for me it's a lot of times 2 essential things, and the most obvious one is expertise, because when you can convince by like detailed domain knowledge, then also the person sitting on the other side will take you as a full business partner, and will understand what you say, and will take you as a full person. And next to that, I think it's not enough. So next to that, the important aspect is appearance. And so this appearance, I think, also is something that we trained ourselves on. So I mean, Florian is doing this entrepreneurial journey since his school age. So he has become an expert in having a good appearance despite his young age. And also for me, with all my experience in corporates such as Microsoft or McKinsey, there you are also trained to have a good experience in front of customers. And so I think these points together, like expertise and appearance, they can really help you as a very young entrepreneur. One aspect where we are a little bit lucky is, I think, our industry, because in the field of AI, so much is changing quickly. So I think a lot of our customers, at least maybe not on the investor side or so, but on the customer side, they are also happy to get insights from young people who have like their academic journey closer to them, and to learned about all the newest concepts and to get educated by them. So I think this is one aspect where we are a little bit lucky, or I think that applies for most of the tech founders. Yes, but besides that, it for me really comes down to demonstrating expertise and having a sovereign appearance.
Yeah, absolutely. And as co-founders, how do you navigate the dynamic between the business and the technical aspects of fast AI movies to ensure like alignment and drive success?
Like a very good point, and I think that's something where we also train ourselves, time to time, and try to revise our current processes, because it's the most important like question that you develop, of course, in the business context further, but then also make use those experiences you gained from your clients and customers to improve directly the product again. So we call this a customer-centric approach, that we develop features further based on the feedback of our customers. And I think what's therefore definitely helpful is that we can both have some kind of understanding of the other side. So although I'm not focused on the technical point of view in Fast AI Movies as a CEO, and Philipp as CTO is more focused on the technical point of Fast AI Movies, we both can also see the other side. For example, Philipp with his great experience at corporates, and also there he had already some kind of sales positions or sales related positions, let's call it like this, where he was in customer contact. He now does also some sales calls at our company at Fast AI Movies, and has therefore also directly the customer insights. And I myself, as I taught myself during school programming and taught Python and Java, but also they use AI frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow to train also for myself models. I can also have good understanding of the technical point of view, and can also look into the code there, and can understand what are the things we can realize, what are not the things we can realize, where can I support. So I think that's a very, very good position for us, that we both have also insights in the other point of field, so business as well as technical field at Fast AI Movies, and that's our approach in general.
No, that makes sense. And what are some of the technical challenges you've encountered while developing the NLP pipeline? How have you sort of overcome those?
That's a good question. So I think one aspect that applies probably for every very young AI startup is the compute costs and how to do the deployment and so on, because these AI models, they need a lot of compute and they are expensive as hell. So what I can recommend to other startups is to have, at least for the training part, some kind of own server, or maybe we also had, for example, a collaboration next to that with a company who's offering GPU computes. And this was so beneficial for us, because not for every new training we needed to pay Azure a few hundred, or AWS or Google Cloud or whoever a few $100. And especially in the beginning, you want to be able to do a lot of trainings to empirically compare the results. And if you have to pay every time you do a training, I think it will become a trade-off between your quality in the end and the financial health of the startup. So that is definitely one aspect that could be very helpful if you have the opportunity to have some kind of local compute. And there are many options to train quite big models on more and more smaller computes, like as parameter efficient fine-tuning and quantization and so on. And I think another problem that lays a little bit in the field of natural language is, how do we even evaluate our output? I mean, if it's literally generating a text, there's nothing like a simple accuracy or you can measure. Like you cannot say this has 92% and this has 94%, so let's take the second one, but it's rather small nuances and it must be qualitatively evaluated in the end. So also there, I think there are quite some good frameworks that we got to know, such as, for example, an agile data science framework, which really pushes every data scientist to very quickly set up a new training, set up a new model, and then directly evaluate it. And this also entails sometimes stuff like building a small test user interface, also just that the AI engineer can easily see input and output and can rate it, was it better or worse, because this will accelerate so much how fast you can get closer to your end goal in AI training and AI development. So I would recommend to stay very agile there, because it is hard to evaluate natural language applications and text. And so therefore make use of existing frameworks that exist to ease in this process a little bit and to have a real qualitative evaluation, because in the end, what you would do is satisfy your customers. So just by optimizing towards some metrics, this will not be the case. So ideally, this evaluation can even be back propagated to some customer's opinion or something like this. This would be an ideal setup, in my opinion, for this agile data science.
Okay. And what how do you do the balance? How do you balance the demands of building a startup with like personal and professional development?
So basically, in regards of this, I think it's pretty important to understand that, of course, as like a startup founder, you don't see the startup like as kind of work. You more see it as life, because if you make a difference between work and life, then I think this would not be a good deal, because you don't have like 40-hour weeks or something like this. Instead,
Okay.
you need to work a lot of more to get this onto the road and to get it started. So maybe that's the first difference already, and it's important for many people who maybe don't have started a startup to understand the difference, because otherwise a lot of people would call you maybe crazy if you hang in the office from morning till the evening. Of course, also you have definitely enough free times to spend time with friends and so on, but you also find friends within your startup network, within your bubble then, and exchange their ideas. And you can really not trade it like a normal work where you go in the office from 9 to 6, because that's not the case. So you have late night sessions, you have to make urgent fixes maybe at certain points, you attend conferences, so you use all your network, all your power basically to concentrate on the startup, on the development of the startup. And therefore also it's not a difference between professional and personal development, more like aligned. So if you do something for the startup, it also brings you on a personal point of view further. And the other way around, it's the same, because also personal connections help us a lot in your startup context. So we have a lot of personal connections that we now utilized for us for Fast AI movies, and where they collaborated some kind of way for Fast AI movies. So that's how I would describe it. So basically it's alignment of both sides, and then it develops both further in a fast way.
Okay, and what would you say are some of like the sort of advantages and disadvantages of being a young founder, and especially in terms of navigating the startup ecosystem and attracting talent?
I think maybe to answer this question, let's continue with the question we had in the beginning about basically the challenges as a young entrepreneur, because this will be here also the same case, by the way. So you have, of course, maybe some talents who think, okay, it's better to work with guys who are like maybe 40 years old, 50 years old, and pretty experienced, and learn from their experience, or to work together with professors and learn from their academic background. But on the other side, you also have guys who want to be a part of this race, or who want to use this as an inspiration to maybe start later their own startup. And those guys you get very easily attracted, and especially working students or interns, you can easily attract, because you are part of the academic ecosystem. So that are already also the advantages you have maybe as a young founder. And because young talents are for us pretty important in the AI field, because it's fast evolving, we can make use of this advantage in a very good way. And therefore we have also built a young team where we of course I think are on a very good level with all of our employees, and can exchange ideas, as well as joining some after work event in a very easy and good way, because we share the same, how should I say, we share the same like stories and the same interests as we are all young.
Yeah. Also, on that note, I feel like sometimes some companies that are run by obviously people in their 40s or 50s, when they look for talent, they're looking for somebody that they want somebody that has 25 years of experience, that are 20 years old. and it just doesn't work and it doesn't make sense. Whereas I feel like from your guys' perspective, being a younger founder and being younger entrepreneurs, you have a lot more of an understanding that talent isn't just about how many years of experience you have. And I think that's where some companies do sometimes go wrong, because they say, oh, we want 7 years of experience in something that's only been around for 3 years. And it's just like, well, that's not going to work. That's you're looking for a needle in a haystack. But I feel like now, because you guys do have that perspective, that you don't have to have 10s and 20 years experience in a specific field to be good at something, because well, you guys have done it. So I mean, clearly that's probably, and I feel like a lot of younger talent probably looks for that, and probably looks for that sort of management style that you guys will have, which it's nice. It's good to hear. I just wanted to lead on to just to wrap things up, the advice side of the podcast. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who may not have a technical background but are looking to build AI-driven products or services?
My advice is basically very simple. So be brave, don't have fear. So many people fear to fail, and therefore they choose to to work in some kind of safe environment at a big corporation or something like this. But you don't need to have the fear of failing, because every time, also if you fail, you learn something and it makes you stronger. And I think the Americans are there a bit better than the Germans, because we don't have this culture everywhere, but in the startup environment we already have now also adopted this culture. And that's maybe my advice I would give. So you can start off directly now, don't fear to fail, and you will learn so many things. So there is nothing that would now hinder you to start off.
I was just going to ask as well, what would you say to other young individuals who are considering entrepreneurship but may feel hesitant due to their age or lack of experience? It sort of ties into some of the other things we've spoken about in the past, but also that previous question I asked. So yeah, any advice in that area or the area that I mentioned before?
So I think, at least it was my personal opinion, and I've worked at a few corporates also before, and I think you learn and gain the most experience in such a startup environment and ecosystem, because you have to learn it, and you have to learn so many different things on such a broad spectrum of different tasks. You are getting more experience by actually doing it. And so this is one of the facts that speaks from my side for, I think Florian mentioned, be brave and just start, because if you wait for the perfect experience, then maybe this business idea is too late. And also for young people, I mean, the risks are definitely way lower. So you don't have to earn enough money to, I don't know, for a family or whatever to pay. Just your bills are way lower, I think, when you're still at a student age. So take this chance. You will gain experience. Also nowadays, a lot of companies value this experience in case nothing works out and you decide to go back to a typical company again. So that's what I would say with regards to the lack of experience. I think that is a really bad excuse, because this is exactly the thing you will gain during building a startup.
Well, you two have done it. So, and you're clearly doing very well. So I think they should just take you as a very, very prime example. And it's clearly going very well for you guys. I like what you guys are doing. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, because I mean, you've already grown your business to having 20 people, and even that alone is impressive. Putting aside your ages, just the fact that you've even managed to do that, because nowadays it's hard to even do that, no matter what age you are. So hats off to you. But yeah, no, that's some really great advice, and I know that our listeners will definitely be appreciative of that. And I think you're right. And I just think when it comes to starting businesses and having those sorts of fears in the back of your head, you just need to put them out, just forget about them and just take the leap. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, but at least you can say you tried. But if it goes right, then look at you guys. Prime example. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And yeah, it's been really, really interesting hearing about everything that you've had to say today. So thank you for everything that you've shared with us on Vision to Venture. Thank you for joining Vision to Venture. And I wish the both of you the very best in your futures at Fast AI Movies, and just everything that it will come out. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what happens with Fast AI Movies and where it goes. So I wish you the best of luck, and thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Eddie. So I think it was a very interesting conversation, and yeah, same applies also, of course, for you. Best of luck for you, and we will stay in touch, and let's see where Fast AI Movies go.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
Thanks for having us, Eddie.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Vision to Venture. If you're listening, make sure to give us a 5-star review. And if you're watching, like and subscribe to listen to more inspiring stories from leaders in the tech space.